on, guys, let's get creative! Get creative! Now let's all agree to never be creative again.
Alright, you ready to tell the video? Today, we're going to be diving deep into the mysterious and often unsettling world of kids' TV shows. I got this iceberg here, and it's filled with the darkest and most disturbing children's TV shows ever created. Yeah, man, let's hop into it. First off, I want to acknowledge something that is going to get brought up a lot in this video, and it's called the Uncanny Valley. And if you don't know, the Uncanny Valley is a concept from the field of robotics and animation that describes a phenomenon where humanoid objects such as robots or animated characters that closely resemble humans but are not quite perfect representations elicit feelings of unease or eeriness in the observers. At the heart of the Uncanny Valley concept is the idea that as a robot or animated character becomes more human-like in appearance and behavior, there is a point at which it triggers a, quote, valley where it appears almost human but still has subtle imperfections. This then triggers a negative emotional response in humans such as discomfort, revulsion, or fear. Now, this is best explained by the way our brains process and interpret visual information, as when we encounter something that resembles a human but has slight differences or abnormalities, our brains perceive it as almost human but not quite human. It's something that you just feel naturally when you come into contact with something that triggers it. And the unsettling nature of the Uncanny Valley stems from our evolutionary instincts to recognize and respond to human faces and behavior. We are literally wired to be highly attuned to subtle cues in facial expressions, movements, and social interactions as a means of asserting trustworthiness and safety. And when confronted with something that falls into the Uncanny Valley, our brains may interpret it as a potential threat or as something unfamiliar and potentially dangerous. Now, this concept or feeling may have arisen from the design of robots, animated characters over the years, virtual avatars, or maybe even was rooted into humans long ago when they were visited by aliens or some shit. I don't know. Now I'm just spouting bullshit. But yeah, that's the Uncanny Valley. That's gonna get brought up a lot for some of these TV shows. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Alright, first off we have tier 1, and our first show is Teletubbies. And Teletubbies is a British children's television series that first aired in 1997. It was created by Anne Wood and Andrew Davenport and produced by Ragdoll Productions. The show features colorful characters known as the Teletubbies, Tinky Winky, Dipsy, Laa-Laa, and Po, who live in a futuristic, whimsical landscape called Teletubby Land. Now, the Teletubbies themselves are humanoid creatures with television screens on their abdomens through which various images and videos are displayed. They have distinctive antenna-like appendages on their heads, each topped with a different shape, and the show was aimed at very young children, typically preschoolers, and features simple storylines, repetitive elements, and a focus on basic learning concepts. Now, the appearance of the Teletubbies with their bright colors, simplistic features, and humanoid but not quite human appearance can trigger a sense of unease in some viewers, along with the show's setting, Teletubby Land, with strange features like talking flowers, vacuum cleaners with minds of their own, and a sun with a baby's face on it. The dialogue in Teletubbies is also very simple and often consists of repetitive phrases and noises, and while this is designed to be accessible and engaging for children, watching this as an adult, you might find it monotonous or creepy. Alright, next up we have Mr. Meaty, and Mr. Meaty is a Canadian-American puppet television series that aired from 2005 to 2009. Created by Jamie Shannon and Jason Hopley, the show features a mix of live action and puppetry and is set in a fast food restaurant called the Mr. Meaty franchise. The show primarily revolves around two teenage boys named Josh Redgrove and Parker Dinkelman, who work at the fast food restaurant, and the episodes often focus on their misadventures, interactions with bizarre customers, and encounters with strange and sometimes even grotesque creatures. Now, the puppets in the show usually have unconventional and sometimes unsettling designs, and many characters have exaggerated features, odd proportions, or grotesque appearances, which could be off-putting for some viewers, especially younger children. And it also employs dark and surreal humor, often featuring themes of body horror, absurdity, and gross-out humor. And the show's humor itself may be too dark or twisted for some viewers, particularly those accustomed to more light-hearted children's programming. Some of the episodes of Mr. Meaty also feature bizarre and unnerving storylines, such as characters transforming into monsters, encountering supernatural entities, or engaging in strange and sometimes disturbing behavior. Alright, next up we have The Adventures of Mark Twain, and this is not a kids TV show but rather an animated film that was released in 1985, and it was directed by Will Vinton and is a fictionalized portrayal of the life and works of the famous American author Mark Twain. The film blends elements of Twain's real life with fantasy, incorporating characters and stories from his writings, and it features Mark Twain himself as a central character, along with Tom Sawyer, Huck Finn, and Becky Thatcher, as they embark on a fantastical journey through time and space. The film explores several dark and complex themes present in Twain's work, such as mortality, morality, and the human condition, and it even delves into existential questions and confronts difficult topics which may be unsettling for children. Throughout the film, there are scenes with surreal and sometimes disturbing imagery, including a portrayal of Satan, scenes of death and decay, and surreal landscapes. It also delves really deep into philosophical and existential concepts, including discussions about life, death, and the nature of overall existence. And these themes are, extremely difficult for young children to understand and could even provoke existential anxiety or confusion. And unlike typical children's films, this does not prioritize entertainment or humor aimed at young audiences. Instead, it seems to offer a introspective and thought-provoking experience that may not be engaging or appropriate at all for children. And I feel like it's kind of sounding like that I'm ragging on some of these shows for being creepy, but it's just like being creepy is not a bad thing. Maybe it's not best for like children to watch some of this shit, or maybe it is. It doesn't take away from the fact that it's fucking weird. But that's not a bad thing. Yeah. Alright, next up we have Booba. And Booba is a British television series that aired from 2003 to 2006. It was created by Anne Wood, the same creator of Teletubbies, and produced by Ragdoll Productions. The show features colorful, blob-like creatures called Boobas who reside in a magical world and engage in various playful activities and exercises. Now, the Boobas themselves are large, round, and brightly colored creatures with long, extendable arms and legs. Their appearance is simplistic yet somewhat abstract, which may be unsettling for people watching the show. And similar to Teletubbies, Booba features minimal dialogue, with the Boobas communicating through noises and gibberish-like sounds rather than coherent speech. And while this approach is intended to be accessible to young children, the lack of the traditional dialogue and communication methods might make it seem a little off. And the combination of the Booba's abstract design, minimal dialogue, and repetitive movements can create an uncanny valley effect for some viewing the show. Alright, moving on to tier 2, and first off we have Radofak Plachta, and this is a Czech puppet television series aimed at children, and the name translates to Radofak blanket in English. The show was created by Czech puppeteer Yuri Tenka, and we're going to talk about him later in the iceberg again, so remember the name. And the show originally aired in the 1960s. The series features a character named Radofak who is a puppet made from a blanket. He goes on various adventures in a whimsical and imaginative world, and the show incorporates elements of puppetry, animation, and storytelling to entertain the viewers. It is generally considered a classic children's program in the Czech Republic and has nostalgic value for many who grew up watching it. However, some of the reasons that it might be creepy include Radofak.
Zdá sa, Raťafák, že kotúľanie ti vôbec nie.
The show also often delves into surreal and imaginative scenarios which create an otherworldly atmosphere, and similar to other puppet-based children's shows, It features minimal dialogue or uses gibberish-like language, relying more on visual storytelling. And considerably for viewers outside of the Czech Republic, this show may seem unfamiliar or strange, as cultural differences in storytelling styles and visual aesthetics can contribute to a sense of unease or a level of disturbance for some viewers. Alright, next up we have Wulin Warriors, and this is a Chinese animated television series that aired from 2009 to 2011, and the show is also known as Pili Fantasy War of Dragons, or simply Pili, and the series is set in a fantasy world inspired by traditional Chinese martial arts and mythology, and it follows the adventures of various martial arts heroes, known as Wulin Warriors, as they battle evil forces and strive to protect their land and people. The series explores themes of conflict, betrayal, and sacrifice, which may be pretty intense or unsettling for young viewers, and it utilizes traditional puppetry techniques known as Pili puppetry, which involve intricately crafted puppets with detailed facial expressions and movements. While this is pretty impressive, the lifelike appearance of the puppets can sometimes border on the uncanny valley and be potentially unsettling, and the show also goes on to incorporate supernatural elements drawn from Chinese mythology, including ghosts, demons, and other mystical creatures. Alright, next up we have Ubi, and Ubi is an American children's television series that aired on Nickelodeon's preschool block, Nick Jr. from 2000 to 2005. Created by Josh Selig, the show features a unique concept where characters are hand puppets with eyes on their index fingers resembling regular hand puppets. There's also like feet puppets too. I don't know, it's super weird. I actually remember watching this when I was a kid. The characters' facial expressions are extremely limited to what can be conveyed through hand movements and the positioning of their index fingers, and there's a lack of expressive faces that make it difficult for viewers to connect with the characters emotionally. They're fucking hands. And the show often takes place in minimalist settings such as living rooms or backyards, which may contribute to a sense of monotony or lack of visual stimulation. Alright, next up we have Jigsaw, and no, not that Jigsaw. Another Jigsaw, and this is not a kids TV show but rather a British educational program aimed at children 5 to 7. It aired on BBC from 1979 to 1984, and the show was created by Clive Dewig and Patrick Dowling. It's a unique educational program that combined live action segments, puppetry, animation, and songs to teach children various topics including literacy, numeracy, science, and social skills. The format of the show involved a group of characters, both human and puppet, who interacted with each other and engaged in education activities. The visual style of Jigsaw, including its set design, costumes, and puppetry, might not appeal to all viewers, as some find the aesthetics of the show outdated and strange, and might even be a little discomforting. And while Jigsaw is again primarily aimed to be educational and entertaining, it occasionally featured segments with darker and more surreal themes. Alright, next up we have HR Pufnstuf, and this is a children's television series that aired from 1969 to 1970. It was created by Sid and Marty Krofft, known for their puppetry and colorful imaginative productions, and the show follows the adventures of a young boy named Jimmy who gets stranded on this island called Living Island after sailing with this talking flute, Freddy. The mayor of Living Island is a friendly dragon named HR Pufnstuf who helps Jimmy navigate his way through the strange and fantastical world while being pursued by the wicked Witchy Poo, who desires Freddy's magical powers. Now, the show is known for its surreal and psychedelic visuals with vibrant colors, bizarre landscapes, and whimsical characters. And while these are intended to be whimsical and imaginative, they could also be very disorienting and unsettling for children. And Living Island is kind of creepy itself, as it's depicted as a strange and isolated world with talking trees, sentient characters, and magical phenomena, but also can be somewhat uncanny or bizarre. Alright, next up we have Peppermint Park, and Peppermint Park is a children's television show that aired in the 1980s. It was produced by Walt Disney Educational Media Company and targeted preschool-aged children. The show aimed to educate young viewers through a mix of live-action segments, puppetry, animation, and songs, and it featured a diverse cast of characters including human hosts, puppet characters, and animated animals. The setting of the show was a colorful and whimsical park where the characters engaged in various activities and adventures while learning about important life lessons and educational concepts. It was generally well received by its target audience and parents for its educational content and entertainment value, and there are some reasons why viewers might find it disturbing or creepy, as it has a combination of live action segments with puppetry and animation, which may create an uncanny valley effect for some viewers, and the puppets in Peppermint Park may have simplistic or over exaggerated designs, which some people found unsettling or creepy, especially if they have like a genuine fear of puppets or dolls. Alright, next up we have Kids Fun Festival, and TV8 Kids Fun Fest was an animated children's show that aired on the station WINJLP in Columbus, Ohio. And the show was animated and edited by station owner Ella Flowers with help from her daughters. The episodes were produced from 1996 to 2004 and were worked on constantly, and only a few clips of the show have ever been found, which makes it all the more obscure itself. Alright, next up we have Return to Oz, and Return to Oz is not a kids TV show, but rather a fantasy film released in 1985. And in Return to Oz, Dorothy returns to the land of Oz to find it in ruins under the rule of the Gnome King. She embarks on a quest to save her friends, encountering new and eerie characters along the way. And while Return to Oz is marketed as a family-friendly fantasy film, it contains several weird elements such as the dark atmosphere, as unlike the bright and colorful world of the 1939 film adaptation, Return to Oz presents a darker and more ominous version of Oz itself. The land of Oz is depicted as desolate and menacing, with dilapidated buildings and eerie landscapes. The film also introduces several frightening characters such as the Wheelers and Princess Mombi, who collects and wears different heads. It also features surreal and nightmarish imagery, including scenes of Dorothy being pursued by the Gnome King's minions and moments of body horror when characters are transformed or threatened. Alright, next up we have Bear in the Big Blue House, and this is a children's television series created by Mitchell Kriegman, and it aired from 1997 to 2006. The show features a large brown bear named Bear who lives in a big blue house with his friends, and it follows Bear and his friends as they engage in various activities, explore the world around them, and learn valuable life lessons. The show is known for its gentle tone, catchy songs, and focus on themes of friendship, cooperation, and empathy. And while it's generally received by its target audience of preschool-aged children and their families, there are a couple reasons why some viewers might find it disturbing, as it includes puppetry to bring some of the characters to life, which might be unsettling to some people, and the characters' realistic movements and expressive features may evoke an uncanny valley effect. While most of the episodes of Bear in the Big Blue House are lighthearted and whimsical, there are a few that explore darker or more surreal themes. And if you just straight up don't like bears, you know, this is kind of not it. Smells like honey.
Ooh, tell me, did you just have toast with honey on it? 'Cause you smell all sweet, like honey.
Alright, next up we have Morso, and Asi Morso is a Finnish puppet television show based on a series of children's books, and the TV show aired from 1999 to 2001, and the show is especially remembered for the character Morso, whose young viewers at the time deemed it scary. The show follows the daily life of three characters: Asi, the donkey; Morso, a creature of an unknown species; and Moru, the cat. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just look at it. Just look at it. Alright, next up we have Noel's House Party, and this was a British television variety show that aired on BBC One from 1991 to 1999, and it was created and hosted by Noel Edmonds, a well-known British television presenter, and it combined elements of comedy, entertainment, and audience participation, and typically involved various segments including celebrity interviews, musical performances, comedy sketches, and interactive games. The show was known for its eccentric and over-the-top style with colorful sets, elaborate costumes, and quirky characters, and some viewers even claim to find the zaniness to be a bit overwhelming. Alright, next up we have EIEI Yoga, and all I could find of this was an excerpt of a children's exercise program that is supposed to be yoga fun for kids, and the video apparently teaches kids simple breathing techniques and animal poses, accompanied with upbeat music, colorful costumes, and instruction demonstrated by kids. It's super weird. It's super weird. I mean, I couldn't find like much on this, like what channel it was from or anything, but there's like clips of the actual segment, and it's just weird stuff. I don't know, kind of makes you a little uncomfortable. All right, moving on to tier 3. Alright, and next up we have In the Night Garden, and In the Night Garden is a British children's television series created by Andrew Davenport that aired from 2007 to 2009 on BBC's Preschool Network, and the series is set in a magical garden inhabited by colorful and whimsical characters. The main character is a blue blanket-like creature named Igglepiggle, who travels through the garden, meeting other characters such as Upsy Daisy, Makapaka, and the Tomblabloos, and it's generally been well received and beloved by its target audience of preschool-aged children. However, the characters in the Night Garden are designed to be cute and whimsical, but their appearance and movements again, may evoke an uncanny valley effect for some viewers. The show's setting and visuals are surreal and dreamlike with fantastical landscapes, strange creatures, and unusual objects, and some characters in the show engage in unusual or repetitive behaviors, and these behaviors may be perceived as strange or unsettling by those watching it. Alright, next up we have Ik Mik Lorland, and this is a Dutch educational children's television series that aired in the Netherlands from 1994 to 1996, and the show combines live action segments with puppetry, animation, and musical numbers to teach children about language, literature, and storytelling. The series is set in the fictional land of Lorland and follows the adventures of the main character and encounters different characters, each representing a different aspect of language or literature, and the show aims to promote literacy and language skills in children in a fun and engaging way. The show features a mix of puppetry and animation to bring its characters and settings to life, and I mean, let's just say it at this point, puppets are creepy, puppets are weird. We don't like puppets. Alright, next up we have Télé Français, and this is a Canadian children's television series produced by TV Ontario that aired from 1983 to 1986 and was created to teach French as a second language to English-speaking children. The show is set in a fictional world and features a mix of live-action segments, puppetry, animation, and music. The show follows the main characters on their adventures as they interact with various characters to learn French vocabulary and explore themes related to language learning and cultural exchange. Like many children's shows of this time, it incorporates puppetry and animation to bring its characters and settings to life. Very creepy, and the show often includes surreal and whimsical elements such as dream sequences that could come off as creepy even though they're intended to spark children's imaginations. And I don't know, just like look at this fucking pineapple. Like some of these look like something you would see today like on YouTube that is made to be creepy, but I don't know, maybe I'm tweaking. Alright, next up we have Tots TV. And Tots TV is a British television series that aired from 1993 to 1998, created by Anne Wood, who also created Teletubbies, and the show features a mix of live-action segments, puppetry, and animation aimed at preschool-aged children. It revolves around 3 colorful puppets who live in a cottage and embark on various adventures with their pet, and the show combines elements of storytelling, exploration, and learning, with each episode focusing on a different theme or topic. And yes, again, like many of the children's shows on this list, it features puppetry and animation, bringing its characters to life. And just look at these weird little puppets. They remind me of the Cabbage Patch Kids, if you remember what those were. I just hate puppets so much, man. Like, they're designed to be cute and friendly, but look at them. Like, I don't know. They also have like this little pet that is literally just like a fucking ball of raggedy fur. And apparently it's supposed to be a monkey. Yeah. Alright, next up we have Telechat, and Telechat is a French-Canadian children's television series that aired from 1983 to 1986, and it's a mix of live-action segments and puppetry, known for its quirky and surreal humor. The premise of Telechat revolves around a fictional television station and its chaotic behind-the-scenes operations, and the main characters are a pair of puppet hosts who interact with various other puppet characters, including animals, robots, and aliens, and the show features skits, parodies, and comedic segments with these characters. It's known for its surreal and absurdist humor with bizarre and nonsensical situations, characters, and dialogue, which might be off-putting to some viewers. And the puppet characters in Telechat have unusual designs and personalities, ranging from anthropomorphic animals to strange creatures and aliens. The overall show has a chaotic atmosphere with fast-paced skits and unpredictable humor, which may be overwhelming and unsettling for young children viewing the show, and even those who are sensitive to sensory stimulation. And I don't know, the co-host is supposed to be like a bird or something, but it looks like a bowling pin with a beak strapped onto it. Yeah. Alright, next up we have Fimbles, and Fimbles is a British children's television series aimed at preschoolers, and it aired from 2002 to 2004. And the premise revolves around 3 colorful and furry creatures that live in a magical place called Fimble Valley and go on adventures while exploring their surroundings and discovering new things. The show encourages interactive play, creativity, and learning through exploration and discovery. Like many shows, it incorporates puppetry and animation, and the puppet characters in Fimbles are designed to be cute, but their appearance and movements are kind of uncanny, and it also follows like a repetitive structure with simple storylines and reoccurring themes that may be monotonous at times. Alright, next up we have Pipkins, and this is a British children's television series that aired from 1973 to 1981 on ITV. The show is set in a puppetry workshop run by a character named Hartley Hare, an energetic and mischievous hair puppet. He interacts with other puppet characters, and together they engage in various comedic, educational activities, songs, and sketches. Like many puppet-based children's shows, it features puppet characters with exaggerated features and movements, and these puppets in particular have dark and soulless eyes. Look at their fucking eyes. Alright, next up we have Terrahawks, and this is a British science fiction television series that aired from 1983 to 1986. It was produced using a combination of puppetry and special effects known as super macramation. The show is set in the 21st century and follows the Terrahawks, a task force led by Dr. Tiger Neinstein, who defend the Earth from the evil alien invasion led by Zelda, the Queen of Gook. It was aimed at primarily a children's audience and featured colorful characters and action-packed adventures, and while the puppetry and special effects used in Terrahawks was advanced for the time, the show's dark and sinister atmosphere, coupled with its suspenseful music and dramatic storytelling, may create a sense of unease or tension, or can be considered very eerie, especially if anyone has like an aversion to this type of puppetry. Puppets. Alright, next up we have Planet Cook, and Planet Cook is a British children's television series that aired from 2004 to 2006, and the show combines live action segments, puppetry, animation, and cooking demonstrations to educate children about food and nutrition in a fun and engaging way. The premise revolves around Captain Cook and his crew as they travel through space, and their mission is to discover new ingredients and recipes from different planets to create delicious meals. The show features various alien creatures with unique designs and personalities, and there's also like this weird, I don't know what it is, dude. I don't know what the hell it's supposed to be, but I don't like it. Alright, next up we have Wizzy and Wappie, and this is a Belgian children's television series that aired from 1999 to 2006, and the show revolves around two main characters, Wizzy and Wappie, and together they go on adventures in the magical land of Wizzy World, where they encounter various characters and creatures. They're like little mouses, and the concept is pretty cute because they live in like a tiny world and everything is like huge. I like how they did this, for pretty creative. But alright, next up we have The Demon Headmaster, and this is apparently a children's television series, but I don't know, it plays like a drama. It aired from like 1996 to 1998, and it follows the story of a mysterious headmaster known as the Demon Headmaster, who runs a strict and authoritarian school called the St. Champion School, and the headmaster possesses the ability to hypnotize people using his piercing gaze, allowing him to control the students and staff. It's weird. The environment is depicted as oppressive and authoritarian, with strict rules and regulations enforced by the headmaster, and it just has this overall atmosphere of control and manipulation, which is weird for like a kids show. And the central plot revolves around the headmaster's ability to hypnotize people and control people, and like I don't know what they were going with this. Like I mean, I guess it could be like a cool little drama, but as a kids show, like what themes are we trying to tap into here, man? And why are they dressed up in Slytherin uniforms, dude? Alright, next up we have Bigfoot and Wild Boy, and this is an American children's television series that aired from 1977 to 1979, and it follows the adventures of a young boy named Wild Boy who was raised by Bigfoot. The premise centers around Wild Boy and Bigfoot traveling through the wilderness, encountering various dangers and helping people in need, and also they protect the environment against aliens. Oh god, dude. I don't know, man. Alright, next up we got Sasuga Minami, and apparently this person was a Japanese preschool show host that would host early morning exercise shows for toddlers, and apparently like she's like a kids mascot, and she wore like outfits that would say "I love cock," "I love porn," and "I love fucking" on the shirts. Yeah, apparently Japan didn't give a fuck about this. I don't know, but yeah, I mean, Alright, next up we have Tweenies, and Tweenies is a British television series that aired from 1999 to 2002 on BBC's Preschool Network, and the premise revolves around 4 preschool age characters who attend a nursery run by 2 caregivers, and they go on adventures and explore the world around them, learning new things and engaging in imaginative play. Now, like many other shows, it incorporates puppetry and animation, and these, of course, mascots have dead ass eyes, just dead, soulless, empty eyes. Alright, next up we have Fofao, and this is a Brazilian children's television character and show that aired during the 1980s and 1990s. And apparently he was a large, friendly, and somewhat quirky character resembling a humanoid alien with a bulbous round head, large dead eyes, and a wide grin. And the show featured Fofao interacting with children, telling stories, singing songs, and engaging in various playful activities. And you don't even have to say anything about this. Like, look at his cheeks. What are those? Why does his face look like this? What is he supposed to be? Alright, next up we have The Wiggles, and The Wiggles is an Australian children's musical group and television series that has been entertaining young audiences since the 1990s. It consists of 4 colorful characters, and the group goes on adventures as they sing, dance, and interact with children through catchy songs. And if I'm being honest, I don't see what's wrong with it, man. I don't know why The Wiggles is so low on this list. I love The Wiggles. I grew up with The Wiggles. Fruit salad. Yummy, yummy. Alright, next up we got Wegmans Dogs, and this refers to a series of short films and television segments featuring dogs that are like... I don't know, this is pretty ahead of its time. It's kind of funny, and while it's not specifically targeted towards children, it has been featured in various television programs and commercials over the years, including appearances on Sesame Street and Saturday Night Live. And it usually involves the dogs performing humorous and sometimes surreal tasks. Yeah, it's cute, I guess. I don't know, it's funny. I mean, there's some where like the VHS looks so like just the quality of the film makes it look really creepy. Guys, there's, I don't know, look at the dogs. Look at the dogs. All right, moving on to tier 4. Yeah, let's go. First off, we have Animal Quackers, and this is a British children's television series that aired from 1975 to 1978 on ITV, and it features a musical group of animal characters who perform popular songs and entertain young viewers with their lively performances. Now, this is creepy as doo-doo. Creepy as doo-doo. The characters are anthropomorphic animals with human-like qualities and characteristics, and the combination of this with their animal features is just like, nah, I don't like it. We don't like it. Thank God it doesn't use puppets, but still, these people being in costumes is like really weird. The lion is just nightmare fuel. I don't know. It's like a blue lion with a wide-ass grin. Help. Alright, next up we got Johnson and Friends, and this is an Australian children's television series that aired from 1990 to 1997, and it combines live action and puppetry to tell stories about a group of anthropomorphic toys that come to life when humans are not around. Now, this is like the OG Toy Story, right? Except it felt like somebody gave this pitch as a horror movie, and they were like, nah, let's just make it for kids. Cause what the hell? There's like a harmonica looking thing with this red smile. And they don't blink, and I hate things that just stare at you with dead eyes. I don't like it. It's creepy. I don't like it, bro. Do y'all like puppets? Please tell me y'all hate puppets too. Should we just get rid of them? Yeah, I think we should. Alright, next up we got Lettervos Bokentas, and this is a Belgian children's television program that aired from 1984 to 1990, and the show aimed to teach young children how to read and write through engaging stories and educational segments. It revolved around the adventures of the main character, who carried a magical book filled with letters and words, along with his friends and other anthropomorphic animals. Letterfox would embark on various educational quests to learn about letters, words, and language, and yeah, the settings and the environment are kind of weird, and there's also some human characters. The actual fox, it's kind of cute, and he's got like a badger friend, and I don't know. Like, it's not creepy, but the badger looks just like really dumb. and it's kind of funny. All right, next up we got Mommy J. Abbott, and this is a Finnish children's television series that aired in the 1970s, and the show was designed to help young children learn the basics of reading and writing in a fun, engaging way. It revolved around a character named Mommy, who was a friendly and nurturing figure, guiding children through the process of learning the alphabet and basic literary skills. The character designs, I'm not sure what they're supposed to be. They're like piggies or bears or I don't know. They're super ugly. I hate them. I hate the way they look. They're nasty. They've got fat cheeks like that other Fofeo guy and dead, soulless eyes that just stare into your soul and suck out your energy. All right, next up we have Nightmare, and Nightmare is a British children's adventure game show that aired from 1987 to 1994. And the premise revolves around 4 children known as Dungeoneers who embarked on a quest through a virtual dungeon, guided by their teammates acting as advisors. It's literally D&D. It's not like there's nothing bad about it except for like the kids like die sometimes. But like it's just D&D for kids, I guess. It's not too disturbing or creepy. They just die sometimes. All right, next up we have The Wombles, and The Wombles is a British children's television series based on a series of children's books. The TV show originally aired from 1973 to 1975, and the Wombles themselves are fictional creatures who live in burrows and help clean up litter in London. And look at them. Look at the little Wombles. They got like a little band and everything, and they just go like, I don't know. I don't know what kind of creatures they're supposed to be, but they're apparently supposed to resemble small bears or rodents with long snouts and pointy ears. And their clothes are made from recycled materials because of their commitment to environmental preservation. Yeah, I don't know what they're supposed to be. They're just like giant rats. Alright, next up we have Lidsville, and this is an American children's television series that aired from 1971 to 1973. And in Lidsville, all the inhabitants are anthropomorphic hats, each with its own unique personality and abilities. And I don't know, just look at these creepy ass motherfuckers. You don't even really have to say much. All you have to do is look at them and just know, oh yeah, that's creepy as shit. Those poor kids. Alright, next up we have The Early Bird Show, and this was an Australian children's television show that aired on Network 10 from 1985 to 1989. It was just like a kind of like a talk show, as like it would host big names from music, radio, and sport that appeared on the show, but also the mascot, it was just some weird looking guy. I don't know, Marty Monster. He was just this weird looking guy, and they brought in a kangaroo this one time, and the kangaroo didn't even like it. Like, the kangaroo was trying to box. That's how creepy this mother guy was. All right, next we have Cool Cat Save the Kids, and this was not a television show, but rather a low budget independent film released in 2015 that was intended to be educational and an inspirational tool for children, promoting things such as anti-bullying, friendship, and self-confidence. However, it's since been widely criticized for its low production values, amateurish acting, awkward dialogue, and subpar visual effects. And despite its intended audience of children, it contains scenes and themes that some viewers might find inappropriate. And yeah, the whole thing is like free on YouTube if you ever want to watch the movie. But maybe not. Alright, next up we have Salty, and Salty the Singing Songbook is not a television show, but rather a character featured in a Christian children's musical albums, books, and live performances. Just look at this thing, dude. The guy is an actual book, and he's like painted blue and is inside the book. It's weird, and it's kind of creepy. It's an anthropomorphic book with a smiling face and expressive features, which is just, I don't know, maybe I'm the odd one out, but it's weird to me, I guess. Alright, next up we have Whizbit, and Whizbit is a British children's television series that aired from 1986 to 1987, and it revolves around the titular character Whizbit, who is a magician and wizard living in Puzzleopolis, a magical town filled with eccentric characters and mysterious happenings. And there's this rabbit, right? And like he's friends with a hat, and the hat just looks like a piece of cheese, but the rabbit's eyes are like literally bloodshot. They're bloodshot red. It looks like he's like, he has rabies 24/7, or maybe he's just high. I don't know. It's a show. Alright, next up we have Liftoff, and Liftoff is an Australian children's television series that aired from 1992 to 1995, and it was designed to be educational and entertaining, targeting children between 8 and 12 years old. This is another show with puppets, and let me just say, the puppets are oh my god, it's just, I think the main problem here that we're realizing is just like puppets are so like, there's one puppet with like no face. It doesn't have a face. It's like, I don't know, like maybe nah, that shit is weird. All right, next up we have the Mr. Potato Head Show, and this is an American animated children's television series that aired from 1998 to 1999 based on the popular Hasbro toy line, and it featured the adventures of Mr. Potato Head. And yeah, in the show, Mr. Potato Head and his friend and his friends are anthropomorphic vegetables and food, and they just have like these, because the eyes are like kind of like stuck on there. Like I have a feeling a lot of creepiness derives from the eyes, and Mr. Potatoes especially are just stuck on there, just non-blinking, just staring at you, just staring into nothing, bro. It's so weird. Oh my god. And look at his mouth, like it's like Alright, next up we have Limbo, The Organized Mind, and this is a short film by Jim Henson featuring Limbo. It combines puppetry with pre-recorded film, and yeah, while it's creepy, I would say it's kind of ahead of its time. It does look like a modern day creepypasta that you would, yeah, it's pretty weird. This one's free on YouTube, so you could watch it. Alright, next up we have Dumbo Circus, and this is a children's television series produced by the Walt Disney Company that aired from 1985 to 1986, and it was inspired by the iconic Disney character Dumbo, the flying elephant, from 1941, and it revolves around him and his friends who are circus performers traveling in their circus together, and they go on like adventures and misadventures as they prepare for circus performances and all that type of stuff. There are people in like mascot uniforms, you know what I mean? And that's weird in itself. But the eyes are the eyes are windows to the soul, and these have none, and that just creeps me the hell out. Alright, next up we have Hedgehog in the Fog, and this is not a TV show, but rather a Soviet-Russian animated short film. It was created in 1975 and is widely regarded as a masterpiece of animation, and you know what? I would agree. It's super creepy. It's like extremely creepy. But it's like it's kind of beautiful in a way. Certainly I don't think like kids should be watching it. Maybe it shouldn't be made for kids, but like cuz they'd freak out. But it's beautiful, man. Like, look at it. It's so like, it's like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, how do y'all feel about it? Good, bad? Am I tweaking out here? Yeah, let me know. All right, moving on to tier 5. Yeah, man, I hope you guys are having a great time right now, because you know what? I am. All right, next up we have Het Zandkasteel, and this is a Dutch children's television program that aired from 2004 to 2018, and the show aimed at preschool age children and focuses on educational and entertaining content designed to stimulate their development. And it revolves around 3 puppet characters that are like people in like, you know, mascot uniforms. You know how this is. All 3 of them have like dead ass blank, soulless eyes with 0 expressions on their face, and just staring to your soul whenever they're expressing any type of movement. Or I hate it. It's creepy. It's creepy stuff, man. We don't like it. I'm gonna speak for all of us. I'm gonna speak for you watching the video too, and hopefully you agree, right? Alright, next up we have Mummenschanz, and this is not a kids TV show, but rather a Swiss mime troupe renowned for their wordless mask-based performances, and they were founded in 1972. I actually don't think this is like, I mean, yeah, they're creepy as hell, but they're not intended for children specifically. However, they have appeared on like, you know, children's programs because, you know, they're supposed to be funny. Yeah, they're really creepy. They wear abstract masks and costumes made of simple materials like cardboard and fabric and all that type of stuff. And their performances are often surreal and abstract, with performers engaging in unusual and otherworldly movements. And yeah, while it is pretty creepy, I think it's cool. It's okay. Alright, next up we have the Slow Norris, and the Slow Norris is a British children's television program that aired from 1995 to 1999. Yeah, it portrayed moral tales and fables through various anthropomorphized characters. It's about like I don't know what it's supposed to be. It's kind of like a Sasquatch looking thing interacting with this little doll girl. Oh Jesus, man. Puppets, man. We don't like puppets, do we? No, we don't. No more puppets 2024. Alright, next up we have Yuri Trnka, and this is literally just talking about this guy. We talked about him earlier, but he's a Czech animator, illustrator, and filmmaker, and he was also a pioneering figure in the world of puppet animation, however creepy it may be. He's known for its intricate puppet designs, poetic storytelling, and distinctive visual style, and his works often explored themes of folklore, fantasy, social commentary, and while not suitable for children, kind of, because it's creepy as hell, many of his films were actually like kind of family friendly and made for young audiences. Yeah, shout out Yuri. Shout out Yuri. Alright, next up we have Gina the Crocodile, and this was a character from the Soviet-Russian animated series called Cheburashka from the 1970s, and Gina was a kind and friendly crocodile who worked as a zookeeper in the series. Gina was known for his calm demeanor, gentle nature, and his loving for playing the accordion. He was one of many of anthropomorphic characters, and they're very creepy. It's not as creepy as, I mean, admittedly it's not as creepy as like ones before this, but still there are also like some humans that show up in the show, and they're like, their eyes are just straight black and beady and just, I don't know. All right, next up we have Glub Glub, and this is a Brazilian programming block that aired from 1991 to 1999. It's just people's face on fishes, and it's fish. Yeah, I don't know. Alright, next up we have Sigmund and the Sea Monsters, and this is a American children's television series that aired from 1973 to 1975. And the premise revolves around the Stewart brothers discovering Sigmund, who has been cast out from his family of sea monsters for being too nice. And they embark on various adventures while keeping him hidden away from their neighbor. And Sigmund himself just looks like a pile of garbage, or like cabbage, or I don't. He's got like a snaggle tooth and everything. He's a creepy looking fuck. Alright, next up we have Dog and Duck, and this is a British preschool children's television show that was broadcast between 2000 and 2003. And yeah, it just follows like a dog and a duck and their misadventures. They're friends together, and they're like these little robot puppets, and they have these dead, soulless eyes that just stare at you into the void of nothingness, because there's no joy or living inside of them, and they Alright, next up we have The Flumps, and this is a children's television series that aired from 1976 to 1988, and they're kind of cute. It's about these furry creatures called the Flumps who live together in a little cottage, and they are like kind of like little puppet thingies. They're like little balls. They are kind of cute because they're like small and tiny. I don't know why it's so low on the list. Alright, next we have The Goblins, and I couldn't find any actual like footage of this, but I found like some screenshots and shit. And it was broadcast between 1977 and 1979, and was an animated series for like a morning's children's TV shows. And they were supposed to be like, the goblins are supposed to be like chimps, which is why they look so ugly. I don't know. Alright, next up we have The Peanut Vendor, and this is about, and it's like an animated music video made for this original song. And there's a monkey that sings about how he's like selling peanuts, but without the context, I mean, this thing is just nightmare fuel. Like, this is the thing. Look at it, look at it, dude. Like, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna use this I'm using this for my thumbnail because it's just the scariest shit I've ever seen in my life. Man. All right, next up we have Mully Grubs. And this one is kind of, it's disturbing if you were a kid seeing this, but it's kind of funny like watching. It's just a face. Like, it's an Australian children's television series that aired from 1988 to 1996, and it's best remembered for a face that would like show up on a blue screen that's just like eyes, eyebrows, and nostrils and a mouth. It's really funny. I mean, of course, if you were seeing this as a kid, it would be creepy as hell. Alright, and next up we have Tomorrow's Pioneers, and this one is more controversial and creepy. It's a Palestinian children's television show that was broadcast between 2007 and 2009. And yeah, it was broadcast by Hamas. Wow. Yeah. Now this, of course, has drawn controversy for its content, which has been accused of promoting violence, anti-Semitism, and radical ideologies, and the show often includes characters that express hatred towards Israel and Jews, sometimes using violent rhetoric and imagery. Additionally, it's been criticized for indoctrinating young viewers with extremist viewpoints from a very, very early age, potentially fueling conflict and perpetuating hatred rather than fostering understanding and peace. And yeah, the show has sparked condemnation from various groups and organizations, including CNN and The Guardian, about its impact on children and its contribution to the ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And yes, that's it. That's all we have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and looking at all these creepy ass weird television shows. I think the point we need to get across here is that if you ever want to get into like making a children's TV shows, please make sure that they don't use puppets. They're creepy as hell. Again, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and yeah, I love you, bro. I'm gonna catch you in the next one.